Guys, it's William with Scamming Scammers Action. I hope you guys can hear me okay. We're going to do a little test run before I actually start the Q&A because Facebook has changed its format for doing live Q&As, and so everything is different. Uh, so let's give it a try here. I hope you guys are doing well. As I said, Facebook has got a new format for doing live Q&As, so hopefully I'm coming in loud and clear. If you guys can't hear me, let me know because this is a totally new format that they've come up with for doing the live video feed. So it might be a little bit slow. If it is, I'm sorry. It's just kind of a new concept here that they're using for Facebook Live Q&A. So it's totally different format for me. I'm trying to like learn things as I go. So I hope everyone can hear and see me well. If you can't, let me know and I'll try to restart the live stream. So thanks everyone for joining us tonight on our June 2020 Q&A. I hope you guys are doing really, really well and you're staying healthy and safe out here in the world. It's been kind of crazy um, this year so far. We've got a lot of stuff going on here in the United States. It's been absolutely insane here. So I hope you guys who do live in the States like myself are doing great. So thanks everyone for joining us. We had a lot of great questions that people wrote in. And if you have any questions, you can always ask them on the live feed and I'll try to answer them. I'm going to try to make this Q&A a little bit shorter than our normal ones just because it's actually really, really hot here today. And I have my window open, but it's pretty warm here where I'm at. So I don't want to go on for a long time. But hello everyone for joining and thank you, loud and clear, awesome. Because my screen is totally different than it normally is. This is a new format that Facebook is doing, so bear with me, please. So we're gonna get started with a few things. I just want to let you guys know that Anne says hello. She's doing well. She might actually be watching, and she might come in the comment section hopefully and say hello to everybody. But she's doing okay. She's taking one day at a time, and she is on the page. She's working the page and answering your guys' messages as much as I do. So thanks you guys for writing in and asking how she was doing. I hope you guys can hear me okay. If you guys can't hear me very well, I apologize. This is a new format again that Facebook's doing for our live video feed. They changed everything as usual. And so just kind of learning as I go as well. As for me, I'm doing well. Back to work. Different job, but back to work. Not full time, but part time. But I'm doing some maintenance construction work for now, just because of the COVID thing. Everything's been so crazy here. As you guys know, I lost my job in March due to COVID, and so I've been kind of going back and forth with unemployment, and finally got a job that's working for me for now. It's part time, but hey, pays the bills. So thanks you guys for asking how we are doing. Both of us are doing well. And thank you for the positive feedback on the interview I did with Anne. Anne's going to interview me next, and hopefully we'll have that video out in the next couple weeks. And I'm working on some new victim stories as well. So if you guys want to tell your story, you can remain anonymous. You can inbox it to us, and we'll make a video out of your story and post it on YouTube. So thank you guys. We're going to start out. We had a lot of interesting questions, and some of them I actually had to kind of research before I answered them. And so we're going to get started. And again, I'm sorry for the background noise. I do have my office window open today because it's super hot here. So the first question somebody asked us was, when you're talking to someone on Messenger and the green little camera light lights up, does that mean they are recording you? Not necessarily. Most times when scammers will video chat with you, on their side, of course, the camera will be black because they'll hide their camera. And on your side, usually it'll show, yourself, and you'll have a little green light on. Like right now, I'm live. My camera has a green light. Normally, what that means is it just means your camera's on. It doesn't mean they're recording you. It also can mean on Messenger that they're online. Um, Usually, when a scammer records you, you don't know. You don't get told they're recording you. They do it kind of, on the sly. They don't. There's no special light or notification to, tell you that you're being recorded. So that's the dangerous thing. When you decide to video chat with a fake profile, keep in mind that scammers do sometimes record you, and they'll use your video footage to try and scam somebody else, and they'll pretend to be you. So no, there's no special way to tell if someone's recording you on Messenger or on a camera. So do be careful when you decide to video chat with somebody that you don't know. And especially if you know they're a scammer, I would not advise video chatting with them because they're going to end up getting your information, recording you, and using it. So please be cautious when doing that. Next question we have: if a scammer is using a fake profile, sends you a fake bank page to log in to check their account, could that link to the fake bank page contain a virus or malware? And what antivirus program do you advise people use? That's a good question. So if you've ever been talking to a fake profile, whether it be a soldier or business guy, whatever, it's fake profile, and he sends you a login page for a bank. And they do this. What they'll do is a scammer will create a fake bank profile, a fake bank page, and they're very good. A lot of scammers are good at coding, they're good at making websites. So they will create a fake bank website and they'll give you the link and they'll say, honey, you need to log into this and you can see that I have lots of money. And so a victim will log into that bank account and it'll show $100 million in there. You know, most of them say 500,000 or $1 million. And what it is it's a fake bank page. It might even look like a real bank page, but it's fake. And people will log into that. And what usually happens is, they'll victim will look at it and say, well, wow, this guy's got, $500,000 in his bank. It's okay. I can help him. I can send him money because he has money in his bank and he can pay me back as soon as he gets back from wherever. Sometimes they can contain viruses. Anyone that sends you a link and you don't know who they are, you don't know what it's about, don't click on it because it could be a virus. There could be malware. There could be, some kind of software in there that can trace your passwords and check your images, do all kinds of things. And they can image your computer and they can see what you're typing and they can see what you're doing. So at the end of the day, it comes down to a couple of things. If somebody you're talking to online that you've never met in person, you're not in a real in-person relationship with, um, gives you their bank login details, it's a scammer. It's always going to be a scammer because normal people, like I would never give you guys my bank login details and you would never give me yours. So normal people don't do that. Scammers do that. So first of all, never ever ever click on a link someone sent you, especially if it's a bank login detail thing. It's a scam. As far as using antivirus software, it depends. I mean, um, if you're not wanting to pay for it, AVG is really good. It's free. Their basic, trial free virus scan is free. Malwarebytes is also free to do a scan on your computer. Doesn't cost you anything. If you want to spend 40 or $50, you can get Norton for a whole year. And that's a really great antivirus software as well. I use a couple different ones, but Norton is really great. And that's the one that I recommend. And if you're like myself too and you're on a budget, AVG is the way to go. It's free. Just do the free trial and it'll scan your computer for you and check for viruses. So that's the ones that I use and Ann uses as well. So, but at the end of the day, don't click on links you don't know. Don't if you don't know the person, don't click on the links they give you. And he's got a question: how would I know if they're using your pictures to scam somewhere else? That's a good question. So the best thing you can do, let's say you're talking to a fake profile, you didn't know he was fake, and you gave him a couple photos of yourself. Then you found out he was fake, you blocked him, cool. Scammers do sometimes use your photos. So what I would recommend doing is those photos in particular that you sent that fake profile or ones that you're worried about being used, throw them through TinEye, throw them through Google Images, throw them through Yandex image search. And if they come up on a fake dating profile or if they come up on a social media profile that's not yours, then you know your photos are being used. And it might take a month or two for them to show up in search. So, like what I do and what Ann does is we run our photos through search maybe once a month just to see what comes up, and that's the best way to tell it. Actually, Ann's photos were stolen about 5 years ago, and they were used on fake dating profiles, and she found out because she ran it through Google Images. So just run them through. It's free to do, and I recommend like once a month or once every 6 weeks. Just check your photos. That's the way you can tell. And if you find out your photos are being used, I mean, it's hard. You can't take back the photos. You can't say, oh, don't use them and then take them back. But what you can do is report the fake profiles and try to get them taken down. But keep in mind when your photos are stolen, they go viral. Scammers will use them. We know that with Dr. Samadi and Dr. Pinto, their photos are literally on thousands of websites, and it's impossible to take them down. But that's the best way. That's what we recommend you do if you want to check your photos. So we got a couple more questions. We had quite a few questions, which I'm really happy about. Um, Bell wrote, I don't ever put my bank information online, so what can a scammer do with my phone number? They can do a lot of things. I mean, they can share your phone number with other scammers. They can share them in groups that are run by scammers. And so what you'll find is if a scammer has your phone number, you'll start getting phone calls from all kinds of weird phone numbers. And basically what happens is he's shared your number with all of his scammer buddies. And so you'll be getting weird phone calls. You might actually end up getting a text alert on your phone, and what it'll be is a code. And oftentimes, what they do is they try to register fake profiles with your phone number. And if they can verify their profile with a phone number and enter that code, it verifies their profile. And so they may try to use your phone number to do that. But mostly, if they have your phone number, it's a nuisance. They will just share it with other people, and that's other scammers, and that's the worst that can happen. So, and that's what happens often. Many if you want to inbox me a little bit, I can walk you through how to Google your photos, and that's another thing we're going to do is we're going to make a video on how to do it because a lot of people don't know how, and it's really easy to learn. Um, so I'll try to help you Google your photos after if you want to inbox us. Erlene, how many scammers are on the web? I've been using your tips and I ran into five. That's a good question. I mean, that's kind of like asking, how many cockroaches are in an infested apartment. There's probably millions of scammers. I can go on Tagged right now, which is a site that I use to bait scammers. It's a dating social site. I get 3 to 500 messages a day on my fake lady profile. There's thousands of scam. I mean, it's not even you can't even count them. There's so many. Um, and on Facebook, I think Facebook said there was something like over 1 million fake accounts used by scammers. So there's a lot. There's more than we could ever count, unfortunately. Next question we got was from one of our page regulars. I got a friend request and I refused to accept it. The man started calling me names and said I was rude. Do you think this is typical of a scammer? Sometimes. You can get a scammer that's really nasty. I've had scammers tell me to go kill myself because I wouldn't accept their friend request. So yeah, I mean they do. They can say that. At the end of the day, really, if you're talking to somebody online you never met and they send you a friend request and you don't accept it, and then they start calling you names and calling you rude or stupid or wicked, um, it's likely a scammer, but it's also why would you want to be friends with somebody that calls you names? So the best thing you can do is just block anybody who, you know, if you refuse to accept their friend request, they call you names. That's just stupid, and it's stupid to even interact with them because they're just rude. But a lot of scammers are very pushy, and they want you to accept a friend request, give them your email address, and do all this stuff right away. They're very demanding. Those are scammers who don't play around. Those are scammers who know what they're doing. They want to cut to the chase. They want to make sure you're real. They want to make sure they can get money from you. So really with social media, it's up to you who you accept as a friend. So if someone's nasty with you, just block them. That's the best thing you can do is just block them. Next question we had was, why do scammers keep talking to me when they know I have no money and I told them so? And I told them not to ask me. So scammers will do that. You'll talk to a fake and they ask you for something and you tell them I'm poor, so don't ask me for anything. There's a couple reasons they stay friends with you. Like we've said in the past, scammers always have a use for you, whether you are rich or poor. So a lot of people get this concept in their head that if they tell a scammer they're poor, they're broke, they ain't got no money, go away, they'll never get scammed. And that's really further from the truth. If you tell a scammer, hey, I'm poor, I'm broke, I'm unemployed, and I got nothing, you know what they're going to say to you? Oh, well, what's your bank account information? I'll send you some money. And so they'll go ahead and use you as a money mule. They'll use you as a vessel to try and scam. Scammers find a use for everybody. So a lot of times if you tell a scammer you're broke, you're poor, you don't have any money, they'll stay friends with you because they might use you for something. They may just want to collect your photos. They just might want to collect your friends list and start messaging your family who might have money. They might want to try to use you in a scam later on. So, or use your bank account or use you to pick up money or something. So really, if you're friends with somebody and you know they're fake, just block them. You need to block them. You need to get rid of them. You need to just be done with them because it's not worth your time. It's not worth your effort to stay friends with somebody who is fake, because it's just going to hurt you. It's just going to hurt you in the end, and it might hurt your friends. It might hurt your family. So just think that over when you're talking to somebody and you know they're fake, and you know you're poor and you never would send them money. They'll find a use for you. They always do. Becky, how do you send picture to your inbox? You click message at the top of the page. It has a messenger icon, and it will go ahead and open a little chat window like you're chatting with a friend, and just you can upload the photo. There's a little paper clip, and you can upload it. I hear a lot of people saying the volume's low. I'm sorry. I've got it like as loud as it can go, so I'm not sure if Facebook has changed its format a little bit. So as far as the sound, it might be a little low. I'm talking super, super loud. So hopefully you guys can hear me. If you can't, I apologize. My volume is on 100. I'm just checking my microphone now just to make sure, and it's actually on as loud as it can go. So the next Q&A we have, I might actually use a different microphone, because I've got it pretty loud, and unfortunately it's not showing up as loud as it should be. So I apologize if you guys can't hear me. I don't know what else to say. It's on super loud. So it might be a glitch with Facebook. It just might be something that's just not working right. I will upload this to YouTube after. So if you guys can't hear me very well on YouTube, I can turn the volume up super loud and adjust the sound. So I will do that, and I apologize. It's just something to do with Facebook and the microphones, because I've got everything up to 100. So it's probably something to do with Facebook. Next question we have, it's one that we're commonly asked quite often. And this question that I'm asked is, and gets asked this a lot as well. I reported a fake profile after you guys told me it's fake, but Facebook said it did not go against community standards. So were you guys wrong? No, we're never wrong. No. What happens is when you report a fake profile, sometimes Facebook will remove it, sometimes it won't. It's mostly done automatically, like a robot system. And so when you report a fake profile, I mean, we've reported fake profiles of Mark Zuckerberg, and Facebook has said, hey, it doesn't go against community standards. It's okay. There's no real rhyme or reason to how they report fake profiles and how they take them down. So a lot of times you might have to report a fake profile 100 times before they'll take it down. It doesn't mean that it's not fake. It just means that Facebook automatically looked at it and said, nah, and they just let it go. And they do that quite often with a lot of people. So just, you know, if we tell you a profile is fake, it's fake. I mean, we've been doing this for 6 years, every day, never take a day off. And if a profile is fake, it's fake. Just because it's not removed doesn't mean it's fake, and that's not fake. And also keep in mind too, if a profile that's fake is removed, it doesn't mean that the scammer is gone. It just means that his fake profile is gone. And what they do is they just turn around and they make another profile. So just remember that. We've had a lot of people, say to us, hey, I got the profile removed, the scammer's gone. And we unfortunately have to tell them, well, no, you just removed his fake profile. The scammer's still there. The scammer's going to keep being there. He's just going to make another profile and another profile. So the best thing you can do is block. If you know it's fake, block it. Don't count on Facebook or Instagram to take down a fake profile. They're not here to help you. They're here for themselves, and they're here to assist the scammers more than anything. So next question we have is, he wrote a sign with my name on it like I told him, and he sent me the photo. It looks real, although I know he's a fake. How can this happen? Really easily. And I can actually make you fake signs as well. Scammers go to like Microsoft Paint. They go to PyZap. They go to different photoshopping pages. They make a little white square, really easy to do with your mouse. They write your name on the little white square and they say, hi, Betty, I love you. And then they Photoshop that photo next to the man, either in his hands or whatever. Often what they do is they'll steal a photo of a man holding like a cup of coffee. And they'll Photoshop that coffee cup out, and they'll Photoshop the picture or the sign in the photo, and then they'll send it to you. And a lot of people can't tell that it's fake. They think it's real. And people like Ann and myself will look at it and say, that's Photoshopped. Because we can tell, because we look at them all day long. So the best thing to do, and we've said this till the end of time, is demand they go on video with you and tell them, well, you're on video. I want you to write your name on a piece of paper, and I want you to hold that piece of paper right next to your face and do it while we're on video. A scammer can't do that, and so they will say that they can't do that. They can't video chat. Their camera's broken. All kinds of stuff. That's the best way to tell if you're talking to a real person. You know, asking them to take a photo with a piece of paper, it can be Photoshop, but a video can't. They can't fake a video. They can play videos that are stolen, but they certainly can't fake a video of them writing your name on paper and holding it next to their face. So that's the best thing you can do as far as to tell if someone is real or not. And if someone refuses to video chat, then something's very wrong because, like I've said a million times, I'm sitting at this office. I have 3 cameras right now in my vicinity. So everyone has a camera. We have cameras on our phones. We have cameras on our laptops. If someone's telling you their camera's broken, they can't chat, blah, 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 it's always going to be a scammer, or it's, you know, someone that's not real. So hi to everyone that's joining us. Thanks for coming in. Hi, Ann. Good to see you. Um, Amber, a lot of them pretend to be military. Yeah, they do. Military scam profiles are astronomically high. We probably get, you know, 200 inboxes a day, and if we have, you know, 150 people send us fake profiles, 80% of them are military, fake military profiles. You know, and it happens quite often. People fall for military scam profiles all the time. Pamela, I wish I knew who it is that's using the photo of the person I used to talk with. Sometimes, you know, you can find the person, sometimes you can't. I know with you, I believe I spoke to you a few times trying to find the real man. We don't always find who's behind the fake profiles. A lot of times it's done through payment details. If they don't use a money mule, if they use their actual name and address and their phone number, sometimes we find them, sometimes we don't. You know, it all depends. It's a kind of a luck of the draw, really. And we're finding some and some we can't find and some we find easily, so it kind of all depends. But just keep in mind that, you know, there's scammers all over the world, but a lot of romance scamming where they use fake profiles and stuff originate in places like India, Pakistan, Nigeria, Ghana, Ivory Coast, that's in South Africa. That's where a majority of these types of scams come from. There's different kinds of scams all over the world. You know, Eastern European scammers tend to do more credit card skimming and ATM card skimming, and then romance scams with fake profiles and fake military guys are they tend to be more in the West African region. It's just different parts of the world have different types of scams. There's a lot of those type of scammers in Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia as well. So, you know, just keep that in mind. That's a lot of where they're coming from. Next question we had was a pretty cool one. Why Kelvin? Why do you do a Kelvin of the day posting? So if you guys follow our page, you know that we do Kelvin of the day, and we find a fake Kelvin profile and we post it. So Kelvin is a popular name scammers use for fake profiles, and it's actually just a popular name in a lot of places. Like in West Africa, you'll see a lot of Kelvins. Um, we do Kelvin of the day just to point out that there are so many fake Kelvin profiles. There are millions of them, and you know, sadly, people don't notice this, and so they'll bring us Kelvin Smith or Kelvin Tom or Kelvin Bob, and we tell them it's fake, and we say it's just another Kelvin. So we kind of do these fake Kelvin profile posting, Kelvin of the day, just as a way to kind of poke fun at the scammers because they use that name so much that it's just worn out pretty much. So next question we had was, how can I make my friend believe the truth that she is being scammed? So that can be hard. You know, you have scammers that pretty much, I mean, we've had victims, victims of romance scamming. Their families come to us and they say, you know, mom doesn't believe he's fake. We've shown her. You know, she's still sending money. She's brainwashed, and it does happen. And the reason why is because these scammers emotionally manipulate people and they get a hold on them. It's almost like being in a cult, and these people actually believe it, and they you know, thanks, Ann. They believe it and they go for it and they say, oh yes, I believe everything he says. You know, it's a cult of personality. And so what happens is these people talk one on one with these fakes, these scammers, and they believe every word they say. And so they're almost brainwashed in a way. And no one can break that little spell. You know, they think, gosh, you know, this man's real. No matter what you say, I don't care what you say. You're just trying to break us up. You're jealous, whatever. And it's frustrating for families because a lot of families, you know, they're trying to save their, you know, mom, dad, grandma, sister, whatever. The best thing you can do, and we tell Anna, myself, tell people this all the time, be honest with the person, show them proof, show them if you can the proof that this person's fake. Let them know. If you have to bring them to our page or bring them to another anti-scam page, do it. Show them the fake profile, show them the stolen photos, show them evidence, and then come at them in a way that doesn't sound like you're scolding them like a child, because you have to remember this relationship is very real to them. So when you scold somebody and you tell them, you're stupid, you're this and that, it's not going to help. You need to talk to them, in a way that you care about them. You care about their well-being, you care about how they feel, you care about their happiness, and you don't want them to get hurt. And if you kind of approach it that way, sometimes it's a little softer and it's a little easier for you to break that ice and try to get through to them. But it can be tough, and some people just won't listen until they lose everything, and that's the sad reality. They exactly, Pamela. They tell you what you want to hear, and they do. Um, we've said it a million times. If you're divorced and your husband was a total jackass and he never, in the 25 years of marriage, told you how beautiful you were, a fake profile and a scammer will tell you. They'll tell you what you haven't heard in your life, and that's they fill that void, and they know how to emotionally manipulate, and that's why it is so hard for people to come to grips with the fact that they're talking to a scammer, because they don't want to lose that bond and that good feeling that the person gives them. Unfortunately, Bill, they use the name Leo as their second name a lot, I've noticed. Is it just a scammer name they use? It can be. I mean, scammers just pick random names. Um, and a lot of times we've said this before, some scammers, depending on where they're from, they don't understand the concept of American names, or British names, where a lot of Americans are not named Leo Tom or Bob Leo, or they'll use stupid names like Jones David, and so they don't have a concept. They use two Christian first names instead of Tom Martinez would be a little bit more believable than Bob Tom. And so that's a red flag. It's a good way to tell if a profile is possibly fake, as you look at the name. The name doesn't make sense. But they don't. Some of them just don't get the concept of what an American name should be. So they just pick random weird names. What about Sergeant David Martinez, military? You know what, Cynthia, it comes down to this: real military guys, and we have a really awesome guy and a lovely lady that both contribute to our page. They're both served in the military. They're both veterans, and they write a lot of our military posts as far as our notes. And this is the thing: military men will not friend request you randomly, unless you're friends with military families, or you're in the military, or that's your brother's best friend, and they're not going to friend request you. And military men have tons of military friends as friends on their profile. I'm friends with one gentleman who served in Afghanistan, 2 tours in Afghanistan. He has hundreds of friends, and they're all military guys and women, and they don't friend request random people. So if you're getting a random friend request from a military guy and you don't know him, you're not associated with him, you're not related to him, he's not your neighbor's son, it's a scammer. It's always going to be a scammer. Military men are not looking online to friend random women because they're lonely or they're wanting a mate. They just don't do that. How do you find out if they are really a scammer, if whatever they say and something they say that you can verify, and other times you can't get through the flags that go up and you're not quite forward to work it out? I mean, it depends on what they're telling you. Um, you know, it comes down to two. Scammers will research. Like if you're talking to somebody online and they claim to be from Texas, say they're from Dallas, and a good scammer did their research, they can tell you, oh, yes, I live in Dallas. I live at blah, blah, blah. And they'll pick a house for sale. And they'll say, oh, yes, I've been to the Superdome. Oh, yes, I've been here. I've been there. Scammers do their research. So it comes down to, what are they asking of you? What is their story? A lot of times people will ask, how do you know it's a scammer? And I say, well, what did they tell you? Oh, he's a widow. He's got a little tiny kid. He's 50. He's a gold buyer, gemstone soldier, engineer. He has a home in Austin, Texas, but he was born in Poland, but he had a Spanish mother. I mean, it's a pattern. They all tell the same things. And just because you can verify what someone told you doesn't mean they're real. It depends on what they're asking of you, what they're telling you, what their story is. Did they ask you for money? Did they ask you for iTunes cards, gift cards, Steam cards, Amazon cards? Um, did they ask you for your bank information? What's their life story? You know, It's just because something checks out. Like if they for example, I'll tell you, if they for example say they're from um, New York City and they say, I love the Statue of Liberty, I've been to the pizza place on 41st Street, it doesn't mean they're real. It could be a scammer doing the research. So then you have to look further and say, what are they asking of me? What have they told me? What are they, what do they know? What is their story? And that's how you can tell. So it comes down to the whole story, not just one or two things that you can verify. And really, at the end of the day, if you're talking to somebody that you want to be in a relationship with and you know them and you're excited to know them and you want to be in a relationship, they'll video chat with you. And while they'll video chat, they'll wave their right hand at you. They'll tell them to stand up and jiggle up and down or whatever. They'll do it for you. And a scammer won't. A scammer will come up with any excuse in the book not to video chat with you. So that's the best way to tell. And don't waste your time. If someone doesn't want to video chat with you, but they want to marry you, something's very wrong. And so just block them and don't waste your time. Amber, the vocabulary is bad. Yeah, that's another red flag. But you see that a lot with fake profiles where they'll say M from the state, M military man, M widow, my wife die, and their grammar is just garbage. Okay. I mean, admittedly, some of us don't always spell correctly, but we can make a sentence. Sometimes their vocabulary is bad, but sometimes you do get a scammer that is college educated, very well spoken, and that's when it can be tricky. And that again comes down to what's their story? What are they asking of you? Someone asked me, what's the best way to tell if someone's fake? And I said, well, besides video chatting with them, you always listen to their stories. So in all the years Anna and myself have been doing this, the stories are always the same. I'm a widow. I have a tiny child. The kid is over at boarding school. The kid is with the nanny. I'm overseas working or I'm deployed. I'm peacekeeping in West Africa. I'm peacekeeping in Syria. I'm, a doctor, oil rig. They keep the same stories, and it's very rare that if I've seen somebody, a scammer, say, I'm a cashier at the Walmart on 4th Street down in Birmingham. They don't do that. They always say that there's something extraordinary, like an oil rig worker or an engineer. So those are the red flags you need to look out for. I mean, it's easy to tell. What if you checked the reverse image and nothing came up? Just means the photo is stolen from somebody that possibly hasn't had their photo used in a lot of romance scams, and so it'll come up as nothing. A lot of times, scammers will steal photos from your neighbor, and your neighbor isn't famous, so he's not going to show up on Google. It doesn't mean anything. It just means that they've stolen a photo of someone that's not known, or they've stolen a random photo of a person that, whether the background's really busy or it's taken in front of a monument or something, so it won't show up in search. So again, that comes down to what are they telling you? What is their story? That's how you can tell. I don't care what photo they use. They could use a photo of your neighbor Bob down the street mowing his lawn and say my name is, John Smith. But it's what they ask of you. What's their story? What are they asking from you? If they refuse to video chat, of course they're fake. I had a guy send me a fake accident pic and ask for money. They do that a lot. They also steal photos from hospital websites. They steal photos from, like, let's say there was a car crash in Florida and they found it online. They just cut and paste the photo out, change it around a little bit. They'll crop it, and maybe they'll put a little sticker or something next to it so you can't find it in search, and they send it to victims. It happens a lot. It happens an awful lot. And what's sick about the scammers is they'll send a photo of a child in a hospital. We had one the other day where the scammer said his son was in an accident and he needed like $15,000, and the victim was like, I'm going to send the money. And we were like, it's a stolen photo. And we found where the photo came from, and it was actually a photo of a child who had died of cancer. So they're sick. They're disgusting. Um, they steal photos from anybody, and they just make up stories. And just remember, everything they've told you is a lie. So we'll have victims come to us and say, well, I have his birthday, I have the city he was born in, and I know his mother's name. That's great, but none of that's true. They made this up to try and entice you and tell you a story. It's like an actor. They're telling you a story. It's just telling you a story, and that's what they do. They tell stories. So just remember that, and it all comes down to what they tell you. Next question we have. I've been talking to a military man online. He said he needed me to send $10,000 for his leave in Bitcoin. He said I had to pay for his replacement in the war in Syria. You confirmed for me it's a fake, and I've been the victim of a scam. He gave me a fake ID and everything. I know it's fake. I know it's a scam. I know the truth, but yet I can't stop talking to him. Why? I feel like I'm under a spell. Why can't I stop? Why is this? That's an interesting question, and it's like an addiction for some people where they get to talking to these people and they really form a bond with them, and so they really think this person is real and they're genuine, and so they don't want to stop talking to them because they feel loved, that they feel appreciated, they feel wanted, and they'll continue to talk to the scammer even though they know he's fake because the scammer tells them what they want to hear. They don't want to, a victim doesn't want to stop hearing that you're beautiful or that I love you or that I want to be with you. They don't want to stop hearing that. And so they're afraid to break away. And I've heard victims say, and Anne has as well, that they feel like they're under a spell. And some people have come and said, well, scammers sometimes do black magic and they do different things. Hi, Elizabeth. But in the truth, I mean, yeah, some scammers do voodoo and black magic, but it comes down to what you believe in. I personally think that if you don't engage in that and you don't believe in that, it's not going to affect you. Um, but it comes down to psychologically, you're just addicted to hearing that you're loved. You're addicted to hearing all these pretty things, and that's why it's hard to break away. I tell victims, and Ann says the same thing. If you're having trouble breaking away from the scammer because you really love what they're saying, go to our Stolen Photos album and our Real Faces album and look at the real faces of scammers that we've found over the years that are holding money, that are laughing, that are giving the middle finger and telling you, you know, haha, look at me, I got your money, you idiot. And if that doesn't make you angry and make you want to break away, then I don't know what will. Like I said, at the end of the day, it's like an addiction. And you get addicted to the good morning texts and you get addicted to the I love you texts. And, people want to hear it, but at what cost? So if you're feeling like you can't break away, have a look at our Scammer Faces album and look at the people you're talking to. Look at the real faces. I guarantee after looking at those for a while, you will want to block that scammer because that's who you're talking to. You're talking to a criminal. And it sounds harsh, but it's true. Next question we have. Have you had Americans help scammers by giving them photos and then talk to you on video? If so, what then? What do you do to prevent being scammed? So yes, we. It's kind of crazy, and as crazy as this sounds, we have had scammers who have recruited Americans and some people from the UK as well, and Canada, to talk to victims. There's a gentleman in Indiana, and he frequents a lot of the Yahoo Boys pages. And he says, I will do video chat with you for money. I'll video chat with your client, your victim, for cash or for iTunes or whatever. And they do it. Some people do. It's not an everyday thing. It's kind of a hit and miss. I mean, if you have 50 fake profiles, maybe one out of 50, an American is helping the scammer. They do. Some do work for scammers. People do work for scammers. They do it for a cut of money. They do it for whatever reason. They're sympathetic sometimes to scammers. The best thing you can do, even if you video chatted with someone and you still don't feel it's right, like I said before, it comes down to what they're asking of you. Even if you video chat with somebody and you know they're real and they ask you for money, say no, block them. Real people don't ask you for money. They don't ask you for gift cards. They don't ask you for your bank information. People so often tell me that, oh, I sent the money because, I think his photo looked real and I sent him $10,000. And it amazes me that people just hand over money like water. And it kind of, it makes me a little angry sometimes because it's like, we'll talk to people and tell them, hey, that profile's fake. And well, I sent him $30,000 because, I just liked his story. And don't do that. Don't send money to people you don't know. And exactly, Amber, if you're missing something in your life, and I know it sounds really harsh because we all want to be loved, we all want that special someone. Um, if you're missing something in your life, find a way to fill the void, but don't fill it by talking to people on the internet and giving them money, because that's not you're not filling the void. You're paying, for someone to tell you that you're pretty. Don't do it. Don't do it. At the end of the day, just don't. we all get bored, we all get lonely, we all get sad, we all want to be told we're, great people and we're loved, but you have to think at what cost. And if you're losing yourself in an online relationship to the point that you're sending your life savings to somebody, that's a huge red flag. You're being scammed. And as hard as it is to break away, you need to break away from it. Don't keep talking to a scammer after you know they're a scammer. Same for when scammers confess. We have scammers that confess to their victims, hey, I'm really from Nigeria, I'm 25, but I still love you. And I couldn't confess because I was scared, I'm poor. Again, it comes down to, and we spoke to a lady who actually went to Nigeria and has lived in Nigeria with Nigerian scammers. The real poor people in Nigeria that are starving, don't have the internet. They don't have an iPhone. They don't have a laptop. They don't have a computer. They don't have electricity. They don't have access to bank accounts. They don't have any of that. So you're talking to these scammers who are saying, oh, I scam because I went through college and I'm scamming because I'm hungry. They're not hungry. They have the internet. They have a nicer phone than you do. If you're hungry, you don't have an iPhone, period. So, it comes down to their stories, and if they're telling you stuff like that, you just need to block them. Don't fall for a scammer who confesses, because they all confess sometimes, and then they say, oh, your love changed me, I'll never scam again, and it's all crap. They're scamming while they're talking to you. So it does happen. Hi Josephine, if you missed it, I'm going to upload this to YouTube after we're finished as well, and hopefully the sound will be better. Next question we had was, why are so many scammers using their real profile but just changing the name on the profile and the photo? So they are using their real profiles, and what they're doing is they're changing the name to, like, let's say Bob Smith, and they're changing the profile photo, but they're not hiding their album. So a lot of times we'll come up with a profile, let's say Bob Smith, and it's Dr. Pinto's photo. But in the album, there's a bunch of pictures of, a 25-year-old kid from Ghana. And the URL on the profile is, Gboy Accra 555. What they're doing is when they create fake profiles now with Facebook, oftentimes a new fake profile or a new profile with Facebook is taken down right away. And they ask for your ID. Well, they can't provide ID. So what they're doing is they're changing the name on their profile that they've had for years, their real profile, and they're using it to scam people. And it's harder to take down a profile that's older. So if you have a profile that's 10 years old and you're using it for scamming now, it can be harder for Facebook to take it down, because a lot of times when you report the fake profile, they look at the age of the profile and they say, oh, well, this was created in 2007. It's real. But a profile that was created 5 minutes ago, they may take down right away. And so that's kind of why they're doing it. But what's cool about it is when they do that, if they lose that profile, they lose their real profile. They lose all their photos, they lose all their friends, they lose everything. And that's kind of cool when that happens. So, Amber, you no longer have an income, so they're targeting the wrong chick. They'll still try to find a way to use you. They'll, and they do want to go to Hangouts. The reason why they want to go to Hangouts and WhatsApp is, like we've said before, um, let's say they've created a fake profile on Facebook and they found a victim, but that fake profile gets taken down because it's brand new. They lure you to Hangouts and WhatsApp so that they have you. It's hard to get kicked off Hangouts. It's almost impossible to get kicked off WhatsApp. I mean, you can, but it doesn't happen often. So what they do is they ask you to go to Hangouts, they ask for your email, they ask you to go to WhatsApp. And so they can keep all their victims on one app. And then they can, if they lose their fake profile, they still have you on their app. And what they'll tell you is, oh, my Instagram profile was hacked, so we can just talk on Hangouts. And that's why they do it. So they don't lose you as a victim. Because if they lose their Facebook profile, they lose you. But if they have you on Hangouts, you're still with them. And where is the URL? So I'm gonna do a video on this because a lot of people, don't know about URLs, or they don't know where to find them. So if you are on a computer, your toolbar where you type in a web address, that's the URL. It'll show up on the top. If you're on a phone, you go to the profile, you tap more info or the three little dots, and it'll show the profile URL, and it'll say, http://facebook.com/ and then the profile name. That's a URL. But I'm gonna do a video, make a video about how to check URLs, because like I said, a lot of people don't quite know. Judy, then they say, sell your house for me, dear. Yes, they do. They tell you sell your house, sell your car, sell your jewelry, sell your grandma's jewelry, sell everything you own for me, dear. Scammers don't care. They want you to. They tell you to sell a kidney if they thought they could get money from you. Does a scammer have a lot of profiles and a few Gmails and scamming others with different roles? Yeah, I mean, we've seen it before. You'll have a scammer with a fake profile, and he'll have a fake friend, and he'll have a fake daughter, and a fake sister, and a fake business partner. Um, they do. They create a lot of fake profiles. Some of them create fake friends, fake business associates, other fake soldier profiles, and that's again when it comes down to they play different roles. They'll play the role of the daughter. They'll play the role of the man. They'll play the role of the nanny. They'll play the role of the delivery company where your big package is coming with $1 million in it. They play all these different roles, and you have to remember a scammer is like an actor. They have these different roles that they play for this act they're doing for you. So yeah, they do. They have tons of different fake profiles. They have tons of different emails and names and characters that they play. I've seen a scammer that actually was the soldier, played the mother, played the nanny, played the business associate, played the dictator, the diplomat. He had like 7 different characters he was playing. It was amazing. And they just play. A lot of these scammers waste their talent because they could be like writers the way they come up with these stories. Next question we have a couple more, and if you guys have questions, I'm happy to answer them. Lisa asks, how can we verify photos? My computer phone sucks. Is there an album to cross check? You can. I mean, we have albums on our page. It's called Stolen Photos of Innocent People Used by Scammers. There's over 50,000 photos in there. So you might be there for a decade looking. If you have a photo and you want to have it checked out, you can inbox us. Just click message at the top of the page. It'll bring you to our chat inbox, in our inbox. Anna and myself will check the photo for you if that would probably be easier, because otherwise you'll be looking through our albums for 100 years. But we're happy to check for you. So the next question we had was very interesting, and it's kind of weird. What can we do to stop scammers? I'm not talking about just exposing their fake profiles, but have them arrested, make them pay our money back. Can't you do something about it? So Anna and myself get yelled at quite often. Surprisingly, we have people that will say to us, well, it's a scam. Why don't you go get the scammer? So let's start by saying a few things. One, Anna and myself are not law enforcement. We're just here to educate people. I'm certainly not going to fly to Nigeria and arrest your scammer. People that claim that they can arrest your scammer and get your money back are scammers. There is no entity of law enforcement or a group or organization that can get your money back for you or that can get your scammer. If they're telling you that, it's a scam. It's called a reload scam. The best thing you can do is not engage with the scammers to begin with. Become educated on romance scams and scammers, know what to look for, and block them. Because a lot of these scammers are in countries where scamming is a job. And so you can't make them pay. The minute a scammer gets your money, it's spent. They spend it, faster than water. They take it and they use it. So you can't get your money back. The money's gone. And the corruption in the countries like Nigeria are so prevalent, you can't get it back. So the only way to stop scammers is to educate yourself about them so you don't become a victim. That's all we can do. And Anna and myself can't do anything other than educate you on how to stay safe. Leanna, do they actually have a school that they go and learn how to scam? Not really a school, but some scammers work in groups, and they teach them. You'll have 20 scammers living in one little house, and they'll have a boss, and then they'll have a network. And they teach the younger scammers. They teach them, what to say, what to do, what to copy and paste, what stories to do. It is in a way like a school, but yeah, there are older scammers that teach the young kids, of course. And they learn how to scam, and they learn how to scam online. There's thousands of groups on Facebook that openly trade stolen credit card numbers and information on how to scam. There's websites that teach you how to scam. And that's what they use, and that's definitely what they use. Um, Heard some countries have scammer offices where they scam people like telemarketing. They do. There's all different kinds of scams running, um, all different kinds of things that they do. And some scammers work alone. I've talked to a lot of scammers that don't involve themselves with the Yahoo boys. They don't involve themselves with the G boys or any of those. They do it on their own, and they do it to try to make some money. They do it to try to become, famous over there to be a Yahoo boy who's very wealthy, like, Hush Puppy, the real famous one, who just got arrested. They idolize him. It's like being a rock star over there for some of them, and so they want to be the big boy. They want to be the big Yahoo boy, and different countries have different laws. You're right, and they do different things. And we've even caught Nigerian police officers scamming. I mean, we've caught all kinds of people scamming that are in law enforcement. Um, it just depends, and you get them that people get this notion that they're all Nigerian and they're not. We've caught a lot of them from Afghanistan, from India, from Pakistan, from Malaysia, from Thailand, from Indonesia. Scammers are coming from all over. We've even caught some in America doing the same thing that the Nigerians and the Ghanaians do. But they come from all over. They do. And to answer your question, I'm trying to catch everyone's question. I apologize if I miss. As I said before, they want you to go to Hangouts and go to WhatsApp so they can keep you there. Again, if they lose their fake profile, they have you on Hangouts and WhatsApp. They want to keep all their victims in one spot. That's why they do it. Why do they spend the money so fast? Is there hyperinflation in their countries, or are they irresponsible young people? Well, here it is. You've got a 21-year-old Nigerian kid who grew up in a poorish kind of place, and all of a sudden he's got $100,000. 100,000 US dollars in Nigeria is like a million. And so these kids, I mean, it's the same concept as like when you have a young kid out of high school who becomes a famous sports, basketball player, and they get that $20 million contract. The first thing they usually go out and do is they buy themselves a sports car because they're 20, 21-year-old kids and they've got all this money. What a lot of the scammers do, they buy big mansions over in Nigeria and Ghana. They buy cars. They buy, the Toyota Corolla. They trick it all out and they get it all fixed up. A lot of them buy jewelry. They buy Nike shoes. They buy iPhones. They have the latest iPhones, the latest computer systems, and they do, things like they buy alcohol, they buy drugs, they buy food. They do all that too. But you have to figure they're living like rock stars. They're, if you got a scammer that's 21 years old and he's making more money in a month than he will make in 20 years working, he's going to spend it. And they're going to spend it on stupid stuff. When you're 21 years old and you got all that money, you're going to spend it on dumb stuff like I would. If I was 21 and had $1 million, I'd probably buy stupid stuff too. And so that's why they do it. They spend it quickly. Some of them, invested in Bitcoin and do things like that. When I meet someone in real life and they look at their Facebook profile, what are the red flags women should be looking out for when meeting someone in real life? So the best thing you can do if you're meeting somebody online, I've met people online. I met Anne online. I didn't get murdered. I flew over to another country to meet her. The best thing you can do is video chat with them first. Video chatting with them is kind of like meeting them without being near them. Video chat with them, make them write your name on paper, make them stand up and wave their hand, make them do different things. And then if you do meet somebody online that you want to have a romantic interest with, I realized it was you, Kathy. You're from Chicago or Illinois. Um, when you meet them in person, meet them in public. Meet them at a coffee shop. Meet them at a Starbucks. In America, we have 400 Starbucks on every corner. Meet them at a coffee shop. Meet them in a public place. Don't give them too much of your personal information. Don't tell them where you live. Keep it simple. Keep it public. Keep it in a busy place so you're safe. But at the end of the day, really, before you meet them, talk to them online and then go from there. We meet people online for romantic relationships, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But just treat it like you would a blind date. Meet them in a public place and be very careful. And if they ask you for money before you meet them, just block them because it's a fake. No good man is going to ask you for money for any reason. So just keep that in mind as well, and be careful because if you don't meet a scammer, you might meet a serial killer. So just meet in a public place. Common sense, safety, and go from there. What if you ask them to send you a picture of themselves holding paper with your name on it? Leanna, a lot of times they Photoshop it. So the best thing you can ask is video chat with me and write your name on paper while you're sitting with me on Skype or on FaceTime, because they can Photoshop papers and photos. That's the best thing you can do is, have them video chat with you and do it live on video. Amber, you met your late ex-husband on CB radio. I used to chat on CB radio all the time. So it was fun, but I never met anybody. Dylan, why are Nigerians pretending to be a woman or a man? They'll pretend to be anything they can be just to make money. So a lot of times you see these hot, sexy women profiles. They look like porn stars. Most of them are stolen photos of porn stars, and they will say, "Oh dear, I want to meet you, but you need to send money to my agent." They pretend. They pretend to be a man or a woman. Scammers don't care what gender they have to pretend to be as long as they're getting the money, and that's why they do it. And sadly, a lot of guys fall for the sexy woman profiles. They fall for the Raven Riley photos and the whatever Delani, whatever her name is, photos. They fall for those type because a lot of guys want a porn star looking woman. I don't know, it's not my thing, but a lot of do. A lot of them do, and these Nigerians and Ghanaians, other Indian scammers and scammers from Pakistan, they know that, so they will pretend to be a female just to entice you and get money from you. They don't care who they get money from. So it all depends, but yeah, that's why they do it. They just do it for the money, no other reason. They don't care if they. I've had scammers. We've had um, the gay and lesbian community, we've had victims of romance scams. I had a gentleman a couple weeks ago who had lost his partner of like 20 some years, and he went online after a couple years and wanted to date. He ended up meeting a scammer who pretended to be a gay man, and he, um, ended up getting scammed for a lot of money. And he was in mourning because he lost his partner, and he thought this guy was legit. He didn't think that scammers would pretend to be gay, and they do. Scammers will pretend to be a gay or lesbian person just to get money from you. Lisa, do you ever contact the real owners of the photos? No. The reason why, and this is one thing that Anna and myself are very passionate about, don't contact the owners of the photos for a few reasons. One, they can't do anything about their photos being stolen. Two, a lot of times they're aware that their photos are stolen. They don't want to hear from you. A lot of them are married. A lot of them are not interested, and they're tired of women and men going, "Hey, honey, I felt for you, but it was a stolen photo, and I wanted to let you know because I care about you." And they don't want to hear it. And then there are some victims of photo theft that actually think it's funny, and they don't care, and they laugh about it, and they think victims are stupid. And so a victim will go and find this person in the photo and say, "Your photos are stolen, but I just want to tell you you're so handsome, and I really like you." And the victim of photo theft will come back and say, "F you, get out of my inbox. I don't care. You're an idiot." And then what happens is that person gets hurt emotionally. So the best thing you can do, if you know you're talking to someone who's fake, the photo's fake, don't go looking for the man in the photo, because it might end up hurting you further, because you won't get the response that you want, and it might end up you get a very negative response, or worst case scenario, you find another scammer who's using that photo, and you think you've found the real man, but you've actually found a scammer who will pretend to be the real man. So never look for the man in the photo. The best thing to do is move on, as hard as it is. We don't tell people if their photos are stolen, because it does no good. They can't take the photos back, and they can't stop scammers from doing it. So just keep that in mind. Just it's the best to just move forward. Last September, I got a friend request from a Nigerian pretending to be wrestler Liv Morgan. I refused to accept. Well, I'm glad you didn't accept. They do pretend to be famous wrestlers. They pretend to be musicians. They pretend to be. We had a lady a couple weeks ago talking to John Mayer, but it wasn't John Mayer. It was a scammer. So they do that. They absolutely do that, and they pretend to. They'll come to you and say, "Hey, I see you're a super fan. I want to, you know, talk to you privately." Real musicians and that don't do that stuff. They never have. They never will. It just doesn't happen that way. So we have one more question, and then if you guys have questions, I'll answer them, and then we'll end the Q&A in a few minutes. Next question, the last question we had for the night. What can I do? I found out I was talking to a scammer and I blocked him. He had my phone number, so I changed it. Now the scammer keeps finding me. He found my new phone number. He won't leave me alone. What can I do? And how did he get my new number? So that happens. We have scammers that stalk victims. They stalk them. They're insane. If you guys have been following the voice chat I had with Jeffrey from Tagged, he's actually stalking me now. I've had to block like 10 phone numbers from him. He's absolutely stalking my fake old lady profile. Some scammers are stalkers. Some scammers are evil. They are actually like real life stalkers. They will follow you, and they will harass you, and they will bother you to no end. Even if you didn't send them money, even if you just talked to them for a few minutes and you blocked them, they'll stalk you. They're crazy. Oftentimes when a scammer does something like that, it usually means, there's something really wrong with them. And most scammers that are in it for the money, they if they don't get anything from you or they can't use you, they throw you away, they go to the next person, and they have other victims lined up. If a scammer is like crazy and they have nothing else to do and they're very aggressive, they may try to stalk you. So you changed your number and they're still stalking you. Sometimes what happens is your phone number, you don't realize if you've registered your phone number online and it's listed, the scammer can type in your name into search and find your new phone number. If you gave him any login information to your T-Mobile account, your Verizon account, they can log in and see that. If you have put your phone number on your new social media profile, sometimes it's public and you don't realize it, and that's somehow how they're getting your number as well. The best thing to do in that situation, and I know it sounds kind of hard, you might have to change your phone number again. This time, make it unlisted. Run a antivirus scan on your computer to make sure the scammer doesn't have some kind of virus on your computer or your phone where he's checking your logins and actually mirroring your accounts and seeing what you're doing. You may have to go off social media for a couple months, and then when you come back, instead of, if your name is Nancy Smith and he keeps finding you, maybe change your name to, use your middle name. If your name is, June, change it to June Smith. Change your photo around on your social media profile and make sure your phone number is not public in any way, shape, or form in any place. Because if a scammer knows your phone number, knows your city you live in, knows your full name, he can stalk you. People can stalk you online. It's really easy to do. It's surprisingly scary, but I mean, I can look at a couple of you guys here and say, "Oh, I can look you up and find out your phone number where you live." It's scary how much information is public, and that's why you need to be very, very careful with what you give people that you've just met online. Because even if it's not a scammer, it could be a psychopath, and they have your information. So never give out anything like that. Never ever do it. If you're talking to somebody online and you're interested in a relationship, video chat with them. Don't give them your phone number. Say, no, I'd rather video chat. Let's video chat on Skype or FaceTime or WhatsApp, or, well, not WhatsApp, but something that doesn't include your phone number. And that way you can get to know the person first before you give out your phone number. Too many people give their phone numbers out to people they don't know. Don't do it. You wouldn't do it 20 years ago. Don't do it now. Just because it's online doesn't mean it's safe. So that's probably how he's finding you. Somehow your new phone number or your information, he's getting a hold of it. And you may have to just maybe go offline for a little while and just play it cool and go offline for a bit. And that might be the best thing to do. And another last question, we had one extra question somebody asked, and it was how to investigate profiles. What's the best sites to do it? So we've had victims tell us that they go to like a search site and they charge like $29.95 to search a name or something. Don't do it. All the information that Ann and myself use to investigate profiles, we do for free. All the services that are free. All the search sites we use, all the tricks we use are free. So you should never pay a search site. Like we've had victims say to us, well, I have his phone number and I ran it through Spokeo or I ran it through Truthfinder, and it told me it's a landline in Naples, Florida. And I say, give me the number. And I call the number and it's a voicemail number. So what happens is, I'll give you an example, and I've said this before. I used to live in Texas. My Texas phone number from 10 years ago is somebody else's phone number now, but it still comes up with my name and information and my old address from my old house that I haven't lived in like 11 years. So search sites don't keep up with phone numbers. And so someone's landline today could be a scammer's free voicemail number tomorrow. People change their numbers faster than they change their underwear sometimes. And so, someone will have a phone number today that's, their landline, and then the next day it gets recycled because they changed their number. But those search sites don't keep up with that. So they're giving you information that can be 5, 10, or 15 years old. So the best thing you can do, all the information we have in our notes section tells you how to search. I'll help you, and will help you and show you how to do these things, because everything we do for free, and you could do it for free. Don't ever pay to search for information online, and don't ever pay somebody to do it either. They should never charge you to check a profile or do anything like that. So if someone's doing that, they're scamming you. If they're charging you to check a fake profile, it's a scam, because you can do it for free and all the information is free. So just keep that in mind when you want to, search for a fake profile. And Anna and myself are happy to chat for you guys. Just come to our inbox, click message. We'll get to you as soon as we can. So just keep that in mind. And thanks everyone who wrote their questions in. I really appreciate it. And we will do another Q&A in July, probably middle of July. We do it once a month. And I'm hoping to do one on YouTube in the future. We'll see what happens. But if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer them for you. Otherwise, I'll close the Q&A soon. Jesse, I've been talking to a gentleman online. He's in Dallas, Texas. I cannot find him anywhere in the white pages under searches for him. I cannot find him anywhere. He gave me his address. I've looked up. He told me his business name. It's not that. I couldn't find him yet. His name is not going to be on the paperwork for the house. I found that out. So is he also fake and a scammer checking? If you have his profile information, if you want to inbox it to us, I'll take a look at it. Keep in mind that sometimes scammers will give you an address and say, I live at 1234 Elm Street in Dallas, Texas. And we Google the address, and it's the address to a house for sale. So they will pick houses for sale. They'll look on Craigslist or Zillow, and they'll say, oh, I'm going to say I live at that house. And that's what they do. So a lot of times, if someone is very forthcoming with you, which is a red flag. Let's say you're talking to somebody online and they, say to you, you just met them 10 minutes into a conversation. They say to you, I'm a widow. My wife died of cancer. I have a little child and he's with a nanny in Sweden. And I'm a gold buyer and I'm over in Malaysia, but I live at 1234 Main Street in Dallas, Texas. And here's my 2 phone numbers and my email address. And you've only talked to them for 5 minutes. Something's wrong. Nobody does that. Scammers do that. So if they're telling you their whole life story in 5 minutes, it is absolutely, absolutely a scam. So just keep that in mind. Thanks everyone for coming out for our Q&A. I'm going to end it this Q&A now and turn on my air conditioner. And I appreciate you guys. And yes, if many or any guys you need help, inbox, click message at the top of the page. Anna and myself will be working the inbox, so we'll answer you as soon as possible. Please keep in mind, we do answer you every day. Just give us a little bit of time to get there, but we will answer you. Yeah, please inbox, and I'm happy to help. I'll be working the page tonight as well. So thanks, guys, for coming out. If you missed it, you can check this on YouTube under our channel, Scamming Scammers, and we'll be doing another Q&A next month. We appreciate you guys. Stay healthy. Stay safe. Be safe. The world is total chaos right now. So thanks for joining me tonight. Keep your money to yourself. Don't give it to someone who's lying and scamming. And thanks, guys. We'll see you next time. I appreciate it. We'll see you on YouTube. Stay healthy. Please stay healthy and stay safe. Take care. We'll see you guys later.